Hi everyone, thanks so much for joining today's webinar. My name is Luzanne Lottering. I'm the marketing manager here at Cardiolog Analytics. I'll go ahead and kick things off. Today's webinar is on using internal communication to ease the upgrade from Skype for Business to Microsoft Teams. A bit of housekeeping first. This webinar is being recorded. If you want to share this with a colleague, we'll go ahead and send an email with the recording after today's session. And of course, if you have any questions, please send them through the questions box within the GoToWebinar panel. We'll leave some time towards the end for Q&A. You can also connect with us on Twitter with the Twitter handle @Cardiolog. In regards to the agenda for today's webinar, we'll start out with a very short introduction. We'll talk a bit about Cardiolog Analytics and who we are. Then I'll jump straight into today's topic, touching briefly on migrating from Skype to Teams, and then we'll discuss the process of managing change during your migration. After that, we'll talk about how to leverage internal communication to simplify all the phases of change management. Then I'll go over to our engagement tool, Engage, and walk you through how you can use Engage to effectively manage change, like the migration to Microsoft Teams in your organization. And at the end, we'll be taking some Q&A, so feel free to send your questions throughout the course of this presentation. A brief introduction. Cardiolog Analytics has been around for about 14 years now, since 2005. We are based out of Boston. Over the past 14 years, we've been focused on web analytics designed for SharePoint and Office 365. Our flagship solution is Cardiolog Analytics, and it's built specifically for internal platforms, including all versions of SharePoint, as well as SharePoint Online and Office 365. Our solution is available both on-prem and as a SaaS version based on Power BI. So, just a little bit about our vision as a company. We've been working with our customers for over 14 years. This slide shows our evolution. Our goal is to help our customers constantly improve SharePoint based on how it's being used. So, there are three main pillars that we talk to our customers about. The first pillar is monitoring activity, which is tracking the usage within SharePoint with in-depth internet analytics, insights, and usage reports. Our customers realized that understanding usage analytics is often simply not enough. They wanted a way to take action based on the insights gained from monitoring their portal usage. The second is engaging users, asking them what their needs are, what their pain points are, and what's not working for them. And finally, the most important pillar is enhance. We want to make sure we're constantly improving SharePoint based on those two pillars. The idea is to have actionable metrics which will allow us to constantly make platforms better for our users. The real bottom line of our product is to help customers get more out of tools like SharePoint, Yammer, Teams. In other words, getting people to use these technologies more. As I mentioned earlier, here's a brief overview of our various analytics and employee engagement solutions. Our flagship product is Cardiolog Analytics. It is available both as an on-prem and as a SaaS solution. Gamify is a revolutionary SharePoint-based gamification service which encourages users to take action in the portal, ultimately increasing SharePoint adoption. And finally, we have Cardiolog Engage, a great interactive solution for sending internal communication campaigns across the SharePoint portal and also within Microsoft Teams and engaging with your users. With Engage, you can connect with your users to know what their needs are, send reminders, launch surveys, and dig deep to understand how you can improve various aspects of your platform and drive adoption, which I will tell you more about during this presentation. So, if you are joining us today, you have probably heard that Microsoft Teams is being called the one app to rule them all, because it provides a platform for people to work together, hold conversations and meetings, share content, and even work on other apps right within the Teams app. You are likely in the process of or already decided to take the big step of migrating or upgrading from Skype for Business to Microsoft Teams. Companies still using Skype for Business are encouraged to migrate to Microsoft Teams for a more robust platform, since it has all the Skype for Business features and more. In fact, Microsoft is strongly encouraging migration of all its cloud users to Microsoft Teams. It's part of Microsoft's move to intelligent communications and integration with Office 365. This switch sounds great, yet daunting. However, as daunting as this migration may seem at first, there are a variety of ways to manage and take control of this process. Each of our three analytics and employee engagement tools can play an important role in your migration to Teams. The benefits of Teams are great, but they will only be realized to full potential if time is spent planning the administration, management, and user adoption of the service prior to making it available to your users. Many organizations have experienced the hardships of poor implementation and user adoption of collaboration tools in the past. Let's avoid them when rolling out Teams by using the internal communication tools that are available to us. So, why do some technology changes succeed and others fail? Deploying any new technology requires a change in behavior on the part of the users. Your switch or migration might meet all your technical requirements, but there are several critical reasons why a technology deployment still might not be successful. The top challenges to a successful migration are internal, the top four being poor communication, which is the main one, resistance to change, and also things like not reviewing project progress on a regular basis and unclear requirements. Many migrations fail due to a lack of ability to effectively communicate the expected behavior change with your users before, during, and after deployment. Within every organization, processes change, new technology is brought in, new policies are implemented, and so on. IT service management initiatives often involve changing how people carry out their jobs. And if you're changing the way people work and their behaviors, then resistance will naturally occur because people may not understand it. Therefore, we need a lot of training. And each individual within an organization will have a different set of values and may fear the change. Organizational change management is about winning the hearts and minds of each individual affected by change within an organization in order to reduce their resistance and ensure the changes are implemented and sustained successfully. If people understand the purpose of change, how it affects them and their jobs, and believe in the importance and the benefits of the change or the product, then projects are far more likely to succeed. As we can see, users are the key to realizing the full potential of your team's migration. Only when your users adopt and embrace the new platform can your rollout really be a success. If you want to drive user adoption to its highest potential, you need an effective change management strategy to communicate with your users during all stages of the rollout. According to Prosky, the leading change management organization, change management is the application of a structured process and set of tools for leading the people side of change to achieve a desired business outcome. The key to successfully managing this people side of change during your team's migration, you have to keep in mind your employees and their wants, needs, behavior, learning styles, and preferred communication channels. Whether you are migrating from Skype for Business to Microsoft Teams or rolling out another new technology, you need an effective change management and internal communications plan to drive user adoption to its highest potential. According to Microsoft, there are 4 phases of an effective change management plan when rolling out a new platform. The first step to a successful rollout is planning and sponsorship from executives who actively communicate the value and benefit of the upcoming changes. The second step is raising awareness among your users to inform, involve, and inspire them, resulting in a much higher adoption rate. The third step to an effective migration is learning and training your employees to get them using the new platform right away. And the fourth step is assessing readiness and adoption rates among your users by measuring their usage and satisfaction. At each stage of this process, internal communication tools are critical to a successful Teams migration. From keeping your employees in the loop to raising awareness, articulating expectations, training, reinforcing the new expected behavior change, and measuring user adoption and satisfaction. I'll walk you through these 4 phases and how you can leverage internal communication tools as part of your change management strategy for a successful migration to Microsoft Teams. The first step to a comprehensive change management plan is defining the project, including its scope, goals, timeline, and fully engaging executive sponsorship. You need full and complete buy-in from the decision makers and key influencers in your organization. Furthermore, you will need several executive sponsors to champion the change publicly and lead by example. Your executive sponsors should be among the early adopters. They are likely to be a much more enthusiastic supporter when they see the new features and value propositions firsthand. Organizations that explicitly secure executive sponsors to actively communicate the value and benefit of Microsoft Teams are much more likely to be successful with their rollout. Your executive sponsor should be front and center in your awareness campaign, writing and signing messages to your employees throughout all steps of the migration. By embracing the overall messaging of the awareness campaign, the executive sponsor brings legitimacy to the rollout, emphasizes the benefits of the new platform, and motivates users to start using it because, after all, adoption is the key to business value. Generate excitement so that users will accept it. Tell them the plan, build excitement, tell them they will be trained. Here is an example from Cardiolog Engage showing how you can trigger an email campaign to send automatically to all employees once your CEO publishes his new blog post announcing the Teams migration. But what if you have employees who don't regularly check their email or simply ignore the email campaign? Here is an example from Cardiolog Engage showing how you can automatically trigger a message bar to pop up in SharePoint for those users who did not yet read the CEO's blog post about the upcoming migration to Microsoft Teams. Now let's take a closer look at how you can raise awareness as part of your change management strategy during your migration. The second step to a successful change management strategy is raising awareness. You need to inform, involve, and inspire your users in order to see the expected behavior change required of a new technology deployment. Keeping your employees in the loop and making them feel heard will result in a much higher adoption rate. To ensure the right message lands in the right hands, it's critical to organize a proactive communication strategy for your users to send the message you want your users to receive. If you use multiple channels in your awareness campaign to communicate the same message, you'll get a stronger response and higher adoption from your end users. Email is the most common communication channel, but there are many other creative ways you can get in touch with your employees besides the traditional inbox. You could host a kickoff event to announce your company's plans to migrate to Microsoft Teams. This gives your employees a chance to ask questions in person. You can also send a variety of messages within SharePoint, for example, to reiterate the upcoming changes, save vital time, and increase clarity and excitement in the lead up to your rollout. Adding highlights and teasers on your intranet sites is a fun and engaging way to keep your users excited about the new changes. It's important to keep your executive sponsors actively engaged during your awareness campaign. You should have your champions share their tips, best practices, and other updates directly in SharePoint or Teams to garner enthusiasm from your users, your end users, that is. During all phases of your rollout, it is important to offer employees a way to ask questions or give feedback. You should enable two-way communication with your users to find out firsthand what's working and what isn't, and to be able to tailor training to the needs of your employees. Here is an example from Cardiolog Engage showing how you can automate a text message to send to a target audience, reminding them to attend the Teams kickoff lunch later that day. Once your employees have heard the buzz about Teams and seen the new tools in action at kickoff events and even with highlights throughout your SharePoint portal, it's time to build on the excitement by offering a variety of training options tailored to your employees' needs, learning styles, and preferred communication channels. The third step to an effective change management, effective migration, is achieving user readiness by conducting training and taking steps to ensure acceptance and to get them using the new platform right away. It's key to know your audience and what their training needs are. Some users will pick up the new work habits quickly. They will get used to the new platform quickly, in other words, and others will require additional training to reinforce the new ways you want them to work in the new platform. You should personalize your internal communication during your training based on the individual characteristics of your users. To effectively tailor and target your messaging, it's important to keep in mind who are you training, what is their role in the organization, what are some of the tasks they perform, what are their permissions levels, where do users perform these tasks, on the road, using a mobile device, in the office, using a workstation. When do users perform these tasks? Is it 24/7? Is it in different time zones or during core hours? When do they need to access the tools? When should training be completed? And how integrated is the tool set in a day-to-day activities? How might organizational policies be affected with the integration of the new tool set? Sharing documents, storing files, collaborating with external partners, using email attachments. Once all your users start the training process, it's critical to acknowledge their progress to keep them motivated to continue learning and complete their training. The fourth step is assessing readiness and adoption rates among your users by measuring their usage and satisfaction. Throughout the rollout, it is important to offer employees a way to ask questions or to give feedback to the rollout team. Give them a chance to communicate with you about what's working well and barriers they've encountered during the training process. It's critical to ask your users for their feedback after they complete the training so you can modify your approach and update and improve your training. Asking for feedback gives your employees a voice and makes them feel heard and their opinions considered. Cardiolog Engage is a great tool to use to ask for feedback about training processes during your team's migration. You can quickly and easily automate messages to your users during your migration to collect feedback and assess user satisfaction. For example, you could trigger quick polls to take the pulse of your users' satisfaction to gather data about their knowledge of and satisfaction with the new platform. Or you could automate a survey to offer employees a way to ask questions or give feedback about what can be improved in terms of their training for teams. In Cardiolog Engage, it's quick and easy to customize your communication with your users, to ask people if the training has increased their understanding of how to use Microsoft Teams in their day-to-day work, and to ask for feedback on topics to provide additional training about. A smooth transition with new opportunities. The keys to a smooth software transition are planning, preparation, training, and monitoring. There are always issues, but taking these steps will minimize their impact. Start with a pilot group and deal with any problems it encounters. Keep all users informed of the transition schedule. Allow enough time for people to familiarize themselves with the new system. Using Cardiolog engages smart internal communication tools to run awareness and training campaigns. To manage your Microsoft Teams migration can save vital time while increasing clarity and excitement among your employees. You can quickly and easily automate campaigns to articulate expectations, raise awareness, encourage adoption, and provide the right help to the right people when they need it. Incorporating these powerful communication strategies to quickly and easily get your employees up to speed during your rollout or migration will make training more effective, increase productivity, improve employee satisfaction, and make your change management plan a success. Let's hop into a live demo of Cardiolog Engage to see how it can help you manage change and communicate with your employees during all stages of your migration to improve adoption of your new platform. Cardiolog Engage is a unique solution that gives further value to our Microsoft Teams customers. If some users in the organization don't use Microsoft Teams yet, they might not know how they can use Teams to be more productive and collaborative. You can use Cardiolog Engage to target them and help them get started. You can use Cardiolog Analytics reports for teams to decide where to prioritize training and communication efforts. Engage can be used to create awareness about Microsoft Teams and increase productivity within teams. In this demo, I will also show you how to use Engage in SharePoint in order to drive adoption in Teams. So, as an example, we found out that our new Teams platform is not being accessed by everyone. We can create a campaign here and actually promote Microsoft Teams. Let me tell everyone about Teams, how great it is for collaboration, and that they have access to it. Or perhaps we can ask folks for feedback. What's missing for them? How can we improve their experience in Teams? Maybe give them more training on a specific feature in Teams. So when you create a campaign, you can either use one of our pre-canned campaigns or create a campaign from scratch. And there are a few steps to create these campaigns. Step 1 is going to be the audience. Who do you want to engage with inside the organization? Everyone in the company? You can send a message to everyone. Tell them in SharePoint that they have access to Microsoft Teams platform. If we already launched Teams and in the data we found out that a specific team is not very active within Teams, let's create a campaign and target only those team members. Here you can choose the team name within Teams. Or, because we track all the users, I won't target everyone. I will only target the inactives, the folks who are inactive and did not interact with Teams ever, or for a certain amount of time, let's say 30 days. The newbies are the users who did not view a specific document, for example, in Teams for more than 30 days or also ever. Or I can create a group. Here you can include or exclude a specific team or teams. So that's the audience, who you want to connect with. The next step is how you want to engage with them. For example, in Teams you can send them a chat right within the Teams platform. Ask them for feedback, what's missing for you, how can we improve your experience in Teams. A chat within Teams is a great way to tell them about updates. Check out the new tab in Teams, or the new CEO blog post, or the new HR site in SharePoint. With Cardiolog Engage, you can automatically trigger a message bar to pop up in SharePoint for those folks who did not yet read the CEO's blog post about the upcoming migration from Skype to Teams, for example. If I am using SharePoint and I don't use Teams, maybe show me a pop-up in SharePoint reminding me that I have access to Microsoft Teams so I can start using it. Header and footer are great ways to tell them about new content, such as check out new features in Teams. These are some great ways to interact right here within Microsoft Teams. But for people who don't actually access things like SharePoint or Teams and won't get the chats in Teams or the pop-ups in SharePoint, they obviously won't see any of these messages. So for them, maybe a quick email. It could be a very targeted email to members of specific teams in Microsoft Teams. But what if you have employees who don't regularly check email, or who simply ignore the email campaign? Or if they are out in the field all day visiting with customers, then maybe a quick text message. Or for members from a specific team, such as those who are inactive, just send them a quick text message with a link back to Teams where we uploaded some new collateral for a specific team. So, step 1, in the data we found out that specific team members aren't very active within Teams, for example. And step 2, I'm going to drive their consumption and adoption by actually interacting with those orphaned users. The next step when creating a campaign is text and design. Here we can design the campaign. For example, I can say, please check out the updated events. The updated events spreadsheet before our meeting. Please check out the updated event spreadsheet before our meeting, for example. Here, in text and design, we can select everything about the look and the feel. So the idea is that we can really get a lot more data from the users besides just the analytics, where again, The goal is to get that feedback and create better collaboration for the user so they'll use it more or raise their consumption of technologies such as Microsoft Teams. That's really the bottom line of this tool. Cardiolog Engage is a great tool to use to communicate with your users during the training process. For example, you can automate a chat like this during a series of training videos. After finishing the first video, trigger a chat directing them to watch the next video. When they finish the training video series, trigger a chat and an email congratulating them on completing their training. Another example would be traditional emails that we are sending employees. So instead of sending them an email inviting them to an event, send them a quick chat in Teams. And have people RSVP to that event. And you can also have one campaign follow another. So for those who clicked on maybe, send them another chat tomorrow asking them to click on yes or no. And those who said they want to attend the event, they'll get a text message before the event with a reminder about the event. Call to actions within a chat on Teams can be either no call to action. You can ask them to confirm, RSVP like I've just showed you, or it can be an open question. In regards to the fallback message, this is a message that is displayed if the user's answer was not as expected. For example, if the message is, "Are you coming to the training?" and the buttons are yes, maybe, and no, and the user, instead of clicking on one of the buttons, types, "I don't know yet," the fallback message will be presented. Thank you messages will be sent to them after they have taken action. That could be thank you for your feedback or thanks for your response. And then the last step here is going to be the trigger. You can send the messages immediately. That will be immediately after launching the campaign. You can schedule the campaign, so messages will be sent at a specific date and time, or trigger it based on the interaction with technology, whether that's SharePoint or Teams. That could be when someone is mentioned in Teams and they don't answer for a certain amount of time. Send them a text message, or viewing a campaign for more than two times. That's when the chat will appear in Teams. So you are asking the right question at the right time to the right user. Give us the best feedback or guide them to prompt them in the best possible way to be more productive within Microsoft Teams. So the idea is to constantly know what's going on in order to improve the drive of consumption and adoption of tools such as Teams. Please do send us any questions you may have in the GoToWebinar questions box. Okay, we have a question from Michael. Michael says, can we target specific departments? Michael, yes. Well, you can target specific departments in SharePoint, or for Teams, you can target users belonging to a specific team. You can send these specific users a message in the channel of that team, or send them a pop-up in SharePoint. I have another question here from Matt. Matt says, you mentioned SharePoint a couple of times. Can we use it for SharePoint also? Yes, Matt, absolutely. You can use this tool with SharePoint on-prem as well as with SharePoint online. Within Office 365, we can track SharePoint and Yammer forms. In our roadmap, we will soon be releasing tracking capabilities for OneDrive also. We can get you a link to our roadmap after the call as well. I have time for two quick questions. So I have a question here from Sarah. Does it take a lot of time to deploy? Sarah, so what's neat about this tool is it's designed for Microsoft Teams, so there's no need for customization when you want to deploy. With our setup wizard, you can get it up and running within an hour and already start creating campaigns. And then our last question for today is from Marcus. Do you have a trial? Yes, Marcus, we do have a trial. We have a free trial as well as proof of concept for people who want a longer evaluation or try more environments and features versus the free limited trial. We can definitely share more information about what's included in each. So we are just about out of time. So I'm going to wrap up our session today. As a reminder, we have recorded this webinar and we'll be sending out a recording tomorrow for you to share with your colleagues who are unable to attend. We invite you to visit us at cardiologanalytics.com to book your free demo for Engage or our other product, revolutionary product called Gamify. You can always tweet us at @cardiolog. And for more information and helpful tips, you can check out our blog at blog.cardiologanalytics.com. For more information, you can contact us at info@cardiologanalytics.com. And that is it from me. Thank you very much for joining. A huge thank you. And thank you also for sending in your questions. And if you have any more questions, you can continue to send those through and we will answer you individually. Have a good day. Goodbye.